Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists, and today I'm excited to be bringing you a top list of Tellarknights from James. So this took a series of tops from recent events. We'll cover all of those in a bit, and it's really exciting to see this emerge in the UK metagame. It's actually the kind of thing that inspired me to get involved in Tellarknights once again. So let's run through the list, go over the events that he went to and the siding strategy, and get his comments on it. So 1 Alsam, triple Altair, triple Deneb, triple Unukalhai, and 1 Vega, triple Demise, 1 Desires in here, and double Duality, triple Call of the Haunted. Interesting to note, this one won't conflict with Rivalry, whereas Oasis would obviously turn your monsters into worm types, so that would. Then double Drowning, triple Gozen, double Duster, triple Impermanence, triple Fogblade, double Rivalry, triple Strike, and triple Stellar Nova Alpha. So a lot of ways to potentially negate monster effects, and obviously Alpha being able to deal with a lot of stuff too. So for the extra deck, 2 Dark Tellarknight Batlamius, double Cowboy, just 1 Cowboy, 1 Excalibur, 1 Utopia, 1 Baguska, 1 Utopia Prime, 1 Lightning, 1 Constellar Diamond, 1 Deltaros, triple Tribear, being the most important, as this can out Goki boards of course, 1 Tornado Dragon, and 1 Isolde, just a generic link 2 that you can access with your monsters, and gives you some good arrows, and that search as well is kind of valuable too. For the side deck, triple Droll and double Lava Golem. You need some ways to out the Goki boards, or the big boards that get assembled these days. Double Chalice, double Anti-Spell, triple Mind Crush, and of course triple Red Reboot for all of those back row decks. So let's look at the side deck choices next. So we'll start off with Trickstar Sky Strikers, so putting in the back row removal, back row hit, because you want to take on the reincarnation without having trouble against it, so triple Red Reboot here, and 2 to 3 Mind Crush going into the deck when he's going first, taking out the strikes, the drownings, and a Deneb. When going second, just putting in the Drolls, because that's the most important thing there, just taking out 1 Deneb, 1 Drowning, and 1 Desires. Don't need to worry about this too much, and even if you are drawing stuff, you're likely to be hit by a Droll Reincarnation combo, which you don't really want to have to deal with. Against Pure Strikers, putting in the Red Reboots again when going first, because they do typically side in Red Reboot against you, or potentially evenly matched, so that's going to go in first pretty much every time you see it go on. He's also putting in the anti-spells and the chalices for going first, taking out strikes, drownings, 1 Deneb, 1 Vega, and 1 Desires. You don't really need the Vega because you can build your board up a little bit more slowly in this kind of matchup. It's a bit more grindy. And then for going second, again, Droll goes in and the same stuff goes out. For Goki, once again, Red Reboot's going in, but no changes apart from that going first, taking out 2 Dusters and Deneb. Obviously Duster does nothing in this matchup. And then going second, you need some hand traps and board outs, so the Drolls and the Golems going in there. 4 against Pendulum. Again, Reboot's going in, and the Rivalries and the Deneb coming out this time. They can play around Rivalry with the Wee Witch now. Wee Witch is a process. And then second, putting in the Golems to out the boards, taking out the Drownings, because they're likely to have a negate anyway. And finally, against Altergeist, once again, Red Reboot's coming in, but also Mind Crushes this time, because taking the Multi-Figure out of the hand is pretty crucial. Taking out the Rivalries, which do nothing, 1 Deneb and 1 Desires. For going second, obviously Red Reboot comes in again, because it is the back row heavy deck of the format. Chalices to bait things like the Hextiers there, or the Silkatus, and also a Golem actually, because they do tend to assemble boards with multiple monsters. Taking out Strikes, Rivalry, and Deneb for going second there. Okay, so let's get his more general comments on the list then. So for the actual events that he topped with this, he went to Basingstoke and he made top cut with a 3rd place finish. Again, in the South Sea LLDS, he placed 3rd again, and in Portsmouth, he also placed 2nd, actually, so he went 2nd at the Portsmouth LLDS. To sum up the wins, he thinks most of these self-explanatory. Floodgates are very fair, obviously, and Tribear bounces, and a simple monster negate is extremely strong and effective at the moment. So looking at the Basingstoke rounds, these are the ones that you remember the most. So round 1 against Paleo Dino, who went 2-0. Round 2 against Paleo, who went 2-0. Round 3 against Goki, he went 2-0. He mentioned that his Goki matchup is actually really strong. Round 4 against Pendulum, he went 2-1. He lost one game as they make a pretty beefy board on turn 1 with a fair amount of negates too. And finally, round 5 in Swiss, he went up against Altergeist and Drew. Going into time, the Altergeist matchup is really back and forth. So it's quite balanced, but he couldn't remember any specifics from this. Going into the semi-finals of this event, went up against Trickstar Sky Strikers and unfortunately lost this one 1-2, getting Reincarnation drolled out the game. And that was pretty much it. Light Stage is also really strong against this deck too, as he's also brought in the notable losses from other events. So at South Sea, Spiral in round 5, so James bricked all monster hands twice in Swiss, and it does happen, he supposes, but in Top Cut he played against Altergeist, the same player who he'd actually already beaten in Swiss, but he didn't see the cards that he needed this time around, so he unfortunately lost that one. At Portsmouth, he lost to Trickstar Sky Strikers in Swiss, probably the hardest matchup due to Light Stage, and he lost to True Draco in the final because those monsters are significantly bigger than anything that you put out from your main deck, at least within the Tellarknight deck. As for theory on the deck, he says, floodgates are fair and balanced, and require a lot of skill to harness their power, hashtag Watabiki. Trivair is a big trampoline on summon, outs basically everything. Dark Teller allows this to be made quicker, goes and buggers it half the time, but hey ho. Drowning is never played around, and I've seen in game 1 get sided out for later games, because mind games are fun. This is a very skill-intensive deck with intricate combos that requires a lot of brain power if you're a fish. Fogblade plus Trivair is a match made in heaven. Side red reboot every single game because it will be sided against this deck, even wiretap or evenly, and Telnova can only stop so much. As for the MVP cards, he says that Trivair, one bouncy boy sorts all problems. Fogblade, infinite negates comboed with Trivair too, that's pretty awesome. Also you can protect yourself by Fogblading your own monster, big brain plays. Cowboy plus Alsam won 7 games and 4 matches with these boys, burn damage is amazing. As for the matchups, he's got a sort of rating system for how easy or hard he thinks that matchups are. So he thinks that Rogue is pretty easy because Monster Negates and Trivair are enough to wait off about 90% of Rogue strategies. Against Goki it's pretty easy too because Drowning, Floodgates and Trivair are all really good for beating Goki. Against Spiral, for the same reasons as above, however, Sleeper isn't respected, However, if Sleeper isn't respected, then you will lose. Against Dino, it's also really easy because Drowning is hilarious, so is Fogblade and Impermanence, and the fact that this deck burns their resources away really quickly. As long as you don't brick with a load of monsters, it's pretty easy. The Altergeist matchup he's rated at medium. Unuk is a very big lad for the early to mid game, combined with striking, grave effects or hextier, and impermanencing the correct back row. That's the best way to beat this deck. Protocol and Mini Kieran are a pain. Pure Invoked, depending on the opponent's deck and the hand traps, this matchup can be annoying once Macabre is live. Knowledge helps them get around the floodgates as well. Mech Knight Invoked, the floodgates are better in this matchup, however Mech Knights are massive compared to the monsters that get played in this deck, so you have to be aware of that. And then against Pure Sky Strikers, he's rated as medium to hard. Multi-roll, he says, is a pain with not being able to chain floodgates if they know about player priority. Burners and jammers are also really difficult to deal with too. However, if you can Trivair the majority of a multi-roll set away, then this is pretty fun. Also, if the floodgate stays up, you can control the game from there. Against Trickstar Sky Strikers, he says that this one is rated hard. Multi-roll, burners, jamming waves, light stage. This deck has a lot of things that can beat the Tellarknight deck. And then finally, he's rated the True Draco matchup really hard. He says it's near 100% loss rate. The deck just does exactly the same as Tellers, but with much bigger monsters, so it's really hard to deal with. As for shoutouts that James wanted to make, he said every duelist that attended these events, literally the only reason that he plays is because everyone is lovely. Team Sainsbury's, specifically to Leon, so he can have this list and keep beating Moff and Betty. Team Harvard and various snakes, Southern YGO and Sue from Southsea, seriously the most humble host at an event. Free sweets as well. So thanks very much, James, for coming on with your list. Really great to see Tellarknights doing an amazing job in the modern LLDS format. It's a very, very cool list, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of it in the future. Congratulations, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.